Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my future card Buddyfight 5th Omni Lord deck profile for post Super Buddy Wars EX. This is probably the strongest Drum Bunker Dragon deck we have that revolves around his 5th Omni Lord form, receiving new support in the latest booster pack for future card Buddyfight. It's a really awesome deck. The whole focus of the 5th Omni Lord deck revolves around taking damage and then using different effects and abilities for the damage you take by having the different monsters and items on the field every time you take the damage, either gain engaged or destroying your opponent's cards. And with the new support we received for the SD forms of the 5th Omni Brigade and also just of Drum himself, it really does add for a whole new flair for the deck compared to the last support we received, which was during Buddy Legends. But really awesome. One of Gao's 3 new decks also from the Super Buddy Wars EX set. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the world, it is Dragon World, as always, for the good amount of, Drum Bunker Dragons support. And the buddy monster for it is Apical 5th Omni Dragon Lord, Mugen Drum. Mugen Drum was always the main go-to card. This is his new form in this set, so it just feels right for it to be the buddy, since it's consistently of the newest cards, the one we get out on the field the most, and the one we utilize the most for all of its different effects. For the monster count in the deck, I'm running 4 of the Apical 5th Omni Dragon Lord Mugen Drum. With this card, its consistency is just really good. Being an Omni Lord, you pay 2 gauge, put the top 2 cards of your deck into its soul. It is a size 2 monster. When you are dealt damage, destroy up to 1 card on your opponent's field. And when this card link attacks with you, that attack cannot be nullified and damage cannot be reduced. And also its ability Unbreakable Bomb. If your life would become 0, you may drop a soul from this card. If you do, your life becomes 1. So as long as this card is on the field, it's pretty much impossible for you to lose that game as long as you have the soul to drop from this card, and being able to have an unblockable attack when you attack with this card, and also having penetrate, double attack, soul guard, and counter attack makes for a great defense. Just having this card be your center card on the field to protect yourself from all of the different attacks from your opponent, and just being a very easy card to get out with the easy gauge cost and that soul buildup. It just makes it that new wall for your deck to rely on. So you definitely want to use 4 of it in the deck for sure. And for the old 5th Omni Lord support, I am still running 4 5th Omni Super Cavalry Dragon Staff Arcade. For the call cost, you put the top card of your deck into its soul and pay 2 gauge. When you are dealt damage, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and you gain 1 life. And then if you use this turn for this card, with this card's effect once per turn. And also with this card, when this card, your turn, you draw a card for that consistency. You take a card and it becomes a size 0 by paying its call cost until it leaves the field. This ability only activates once per turn. So just being able to call another card, since this card is a size 3 on the field, being able to call monster with 5th Omni Lord by drawing a card and then using this ability when you are dealt damage just gives you the consistency to have more monsters on the field than normal, but being able to have them be size 0s means you won't be over the size limit with this card on the field. Also very useful for some of the other cards we are running in the deck altogether for your plays. And just for a little added backup, so we always have a Mugen Drum to go into. 2 of the old copies of 5th Omni Super Dream Sky Emperor Mugen Drum. With this one, this card cannot be called to the center, which is one thing that the new copy has on it, which is very useful for sure. But its call cost is put the top card of your deck into its soul and pay 2 gauge. When you take damage, destroy a monster on your opponent's field and you gain 1 life. So the new Mugen Drum definitely has a big plus compared to this card with all the other different ones, just being able to protect yourself altogether, but still like to rely on just having another different drum that you could potentially call out with the double attack and soul guard power, just because we're running full max copy of the new Mugen Drum, but just having more and more options to go into different drums makes it all the better for sure. And I also run 4 5th Omni Cavalry Dragon Mizaru SD. If another original size 2 or greater armor dragon is on your field, this card's size on the field is reduced by 2, making it another size 0 on the field, which is very useful for sure. And when you are dealt damage, if another drum card's on your field, you draw 2 cards. This effect only activates once per turn, but still very good altogether for that draw consistency, because investing a lot of different cards with this deck is the big biggest weakness, so the fact that Mizaru SD just allows you to have that draw power definitely does help for all your different plays. And during each player's attack phase, you choose an armored dragon on your field, and for this turn the chosen card gets plus 5,000 power, plus 5,000 defense, and critical +1, and then you take 1 damage, and you can only use this effect once per turn. So if you have your setup with the new Mugen Drum, just being able to give that additional critical plus, putting it at 4 critical, is all the strength you need. This card will also be a size 0 on the field since this one is reduced. So if you are just able to call these two out, you have that consistency for the draw power, the power boost, you name it. It doesn't have double attack or anything like that, but you really don't need it once you have your item equipped as well. And then for added backup support, I'm also running 3 5th Omni Cavalry Dragon, Doble SD, and Megalax XD. If you have another original size 2 or greater armor dragon on your field, this card size is reduced by 1, so you could potentially have Mizaru SD and this one on the field, both being size 0, along with your Mugen Drum. And 5th Omni's Resonance is its ability when this card enters the field, put up to 1 monster or item with 5th Omni and its card name from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck, then you take 2 damage. 5th Omni Resonance only activates once per turn. More search power with this one, especially the size reduction is another plus for sure, so you never over the size limit with all your different monsters on the field. Potentially I may want to have 4 of this. If that were the case, I may drop a Mizaru SD, but this one's draw power I just say is all the better for sure with the deck in total. And I am also running 3 5th Omni Cavalry Dragon Arcade SD. You choose a size 2 or greater monster with 5th Omni and its card name from your drop zone. You may put this card on the field into the drop zone. If you do, call the chosen card by paying its call cost, and you take 1 damage, and then this card's size becomes 0 until it leaves the field. Once again, depending on whichever one you call out, making it a size 0, then just being able to have it on the field with your other 5th Omni Lord support is all the better for sure. So 3 Arcade SD definitely does make for a great addition into the deck for sure. And I'm also running 2 5th Omni Cavalry Dragon Fuad SD. The fact that this card is just an uncommon is what is crazy. You may only call this card if 5th Omni and its card name is on your field. Counter during your turn. Choose another Armored Dragon monster on your field. You put this card from the field into the chosen card soul. If you do, stand the chosen card and take 1 damage. Just being able to have another attack with your 5th Omni Mugen Drum is the big plus for sure. And then just giving you more and more soul to use its life protection effect as well. And if this card's in the soul of an Armored Dragon monster, that card's soul cannot be dropped. Its abilities of that card cannot be nullified. And this card also has Penetrate with a critical of 3, but power of 1,000. So if you can just hit that defense, it definitely means a lot of power, or just being able to clear your opponent's center and then attack them for 3 damage, and then use the counter skill to put it into your Mugen Drum soul and then restand it for the additional attack as well. And then lastly, just for a couple of one-ofs for the deck, I'm just running 1 5th Omni Lord Dragon Drum SD, kind of mixed up the words there, and the 1 5th Omni Cavalry Merrick SD, just good backups I would say for gauge build-up and just overall setup for your Mugen Drum on the field that doesn't have the Penetrate, or your Arcade Staff abilities also for the setup with your Merrick SD. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the items that we're running. We are running 2 5th Omni Dragon Sword, Drago Brave, and 2 of the new 5th Omni Twin Sword, Imperial Emperor Fang. What's great, they both have set up with the Imperial Emperor Fang counter. You put up to 1 card from your drop zone into this card's soul, and then you take 1 damage for this card. For that setup, having double attack and soul guard, while Drago Brave sets up your gauge and gains you life, but with your Imperial Emperor Fang. With this one, this card can attack even if there's an Armored Dragon on the center, just like your Drago Brave. Just having this one as the option for more life gain for 2 life for this one when you take damage, and then having your Drago Brave be able to gain you gauge as well as life as well is a big help for both of these cards. So if you want to just gain life in total, you have the Imperial Emperor Fang, and then the Drago Brave for the gauge and life, but also the Imperial Emperor Fang also has double attack, so remember that one, depending on which one you want to equip. And now moving on to the spells, I am running 4 Drago Fight 5th Omni Arises. You may only cast this card if an original size 2 or greater Armor Dragon is on your field. You take 1 damage, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, and put up to 2 from among them into your hand, and put the rest into your gauge. You may only cast Drago Fight 5th Omni Arises once per turn. It's search and setup, and all you have to do is have an original size 2 on the field, so setting up Mugen Drum for this card's play is your big one to go for. You definitely want to run 4 of it. It is just a once per turn, but just being able to search and set up the gauge for all your different plays is a big plus for sure with this card. And I'm also running 3 5th Omni Sword Skill style of Blue Flame. You choose and use one of the following. You may only cast 5th Omni Sword Skill style of Blue Flame once per turn. Put up to 1 dragon item from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. Or call up to 1 monster with 5th Omni its card name from your drop zone by paying its call cost. Then you take 1 damage. So just a great way to grab drum back from the drop zone, or just to, search out the particular item which we spoke of, depending on which one you need for that specific situation. Very useful as well for both of those cards and its search power. And also, just for a little more extra shield power, I'm running 3 5th Omni Great Dragon Shield. Just the nullify attack during attack on your opponent's turn. If you have a card with 5th Omni its card on your field, you don't have to have your center clear, but just a good way to nullify the attack. And 1 Lord Dragon's Emperor Shield. It nullifies the attack and you take 1 damage, and this card cannot be nullified. And you have to have when your opponent's monster, and you don't have a monster on the center. If you don't want to run the Lord Dragon's Shield, you can put in a 4th copy of 5th Omni Sword Skill style Blue Flame, and just see how that extra search power works for you as well, but player preference at that point also with these cards. And I also run 2 Drago White 5th Omni Holy Light. With this one, you take 1 damage for the cast cost, and then counter, you may either use the skill draw a card and choose and use one of the following 2 of this card. You gain 5 life, or for this turn when a card is destroyed on your opponent's field, deal 2 damage to your opponent. So the life gain especially is very useful, but just being able to also deal damage to your opponent to potentially finish them off could be a big help for sure also. And I also run 3 Drago Guts. All you have to do is you take 1 damage and gain 3 life. So along with the life gain, the take a damage just works for a bunch of different, the Omni Lords, depending on which one you have on the field to utilize as well. So Drago Guts is a big plus for sure there. And I also run 3 Drago Wisdom Knowledge of the 5th Omni. You only cast this if you have a card with 5th Omni and its card name on your field. Take 1 damage, put the top card of your deck into your gauge, and draw a card. You only use Drago Wisdom Knowledge of the 5th Omni once per turn. More setup with this card, but being able to take a damage once again sets up all the plays, while also giving you those pluses to use with those plays. And lastly, for the one-ups for the spells, I run 1 Drago Pride 5th Omni Dignity, just for more gauge and life setup. 1 Drago Bright 5th Omni Light, more setup with this card while also dealing damage. And 1 Dragonic Exchange to set up other cards by being able to look at your gauge and take whichever card you need for that play, and then putting other cards into it also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Definitely going to be doing a lot more deck profiles from the Super Buddy Wars EX booster set, so look forward to it, especially ones that revolve around Gal Mikado. Also planning to do Dragon's Y and also potentially Dragon Ein, so look forward to it. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.